want to bring in a couple of recent additions to the World Wrestling Federation. You know, we talk about the international scope of the World Wrestling Federation. If I may at this time make some introductions from England, the British Bulldogs. Collectively, they are known as the British Bulldogs. To my left, Dynamite Kid. To my immediate right, none other than Davey Boy Smith. Welcome, first of all, to the World Wrestling Federation. A little bit on your background, if I may start with you, Davey. Where are you from, and how did the two of you get together?
Well, we're from a little town called Wigan in England.
Wigan? Oh,
yeah, Wigan, the old wrestling town.
Is that in the coal mining area, as I recall?
All coal mining. Everything's coal mining. We grew up together. We're both cousins, you know.
Sneak in here if I can get the Dynamite Kid along.
Yeah, we're both cousins. We was brought up together. We trained together. We worked out together. And we've been wrestling together for a long, long time.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Dynamite Kid, you've got fans of the World Wrestling Federation absolutely buzzing with your high flying. That seems to be a mark for Davey Boy Smith and yourself.
You know something, Gene? This is the first time the Dynamite Kid and Dave Boy Smith have been to the US of A. We're very proud to be here. We're going to stay here. The British Bulldogs are strong. They're aggressive. They're hungry. They're looking for competition. Volta, Iron Sheik, Valentine, you name them, we're going to wrestle them. We're going to the top. We're good. There's not one move in professional wrestling that we don't know. Or if there is, it hasn't been invented yet. The British Bulldogs are strong. They're going to go ahead. They're going for championship belts. We mean it. We mean business. That's all I can say. Thank you, USA.
Well, I thank you very much, gentlemen, collectively known as the British Bulldogs, the Dynamite Kid, and Davey Boy Smith. Gentlemen, I thank you very much.
The Midwest supporting, bruiser loving, positivity spreading, world's most dangerous podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty as he supports and promotes Midwest pro wrestling. Keep on growing with the Midwest Express. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
Welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I'm your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us, as you do every week on this free podcast, as we explore wrestling history, particularly Midwest history, but not exclusive, correct? As today, we are talking to author Stephen Bell, who we had on the show previously. He is now on to talk about his upcoming book, the book he's working on, about the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. Of course, it's very timely with the induction of Davey Boy Smith into the WWE Hall of Fame this year in one of the ceremonies. I mean, we're on what's WrestleMania season, right? And the Hall of Fame thing's coming up and everything else. And frankly, I couldn't care less. I have zero interest in WWE anymore. There's certain aspects that are, and certain things that are okay, but I just can't sit and watch it. I just can't. It's my personal preference. But, I am enjoying wrestling, though. I am enjoying Ring of Honor, who have been having extraordinary TV shows. The 19th anniversary show was exceptional. And I'm also enjoying the return of the NWA with Back for the Attack and their weekly show. I'm really enjoying the new talents they have there. Chris Masters made a huge impact, defeating Trevor Murdoch for the national title recently. And those shows are fun. I really enjoy them. I enjoy the hour-long episodes of these shows that you feel good and you want more. Unlike the 67 and a half hours that WWE has, that just makes you feel sick. And if you're a fan of WWE, okay, no, that's fine. That's your thing. I have no problems with that. But yeah, everything else is doing well. We're glad you're here. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter at the Dave Dynasty. And make sure you follow the Dynasty Wrestling Podcast Network. It's at WrestlePods. That's with an S on the end. And that's where you can see all the information about shows. We're trying to get lots of shows in the works and expanding on some things here in my network. They're all going to be in the same feed. So wherever you've always subscribed to the Dave Dynasty Show, you may have noticed it revamped a little. Now it says the Dynasty Wrestling Podcast Network or something of that sort. And that's okay. Same thing. It's just that's where the Dave Dynasty Show is going to be. That's where the Ring a Ding Dong Dandy episodes are going to be. If we do any future Graham's Gallery episodes, that's where they'll be. And then any other shows that involve wrestling that we develop. Some of them may just be one-off episodes that we do here and there. But whatever they are, they will appear in that one feed. So if you subscribe to that, you get them all. And I suggest you listen to them. They're all fun. They're all enjoyable. And they're all free. But if you would like to help the show, the best way to right back into the show as we invest, on our hosting services, our equipment, etc. That it all goes right back in. So if you are a podcaster out there, or a potential podcaster, someone who has an interest, and you have a unique idea, let's put it that way, right? Not the same. I have no interest in having shows that just do review shows of Raw, SmackDown, or blah blah blah. None of that. All right, that's not going to be on the network. We're just not going to do that. But if you have a very specific under Dave Dynasty, and let's discuss your project, pitch me your ideal, and let's see if it's a fit for my network, and let's see what we can do about that. I want people who are serious and dedicated to doing it, and putting in the time and the research to make sure it's quality programming. So if you have an ideal, hit me up. We have a few things that ideas we're bantering around that are going to be fun if they come to fruition. So, yeah. And if all else fails, you can always email me at dave@davedynasty.com. But once again, davedynasty.com is the central hub for all of our activities. You find links to everything there, so give that a visit. All right. Let's take a break. Let's hear from our sponsors, Manscaped. And then when we come back, we have my my co-host, Ike Isaacs, as he has that chat with Stephen Bell, author of the British Bulldogs books. So stick around. Flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it's time to chop the weeds. Thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped, you can trim your holes safely for our audience. Use the promo code DYNASTY20 to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Join the other 2 million men who trust Manscaped. They are here to make sure you are trimmed and smelling nice. After all, it is time for some spring cleaning, because spring is sprung, and Manscaped has the best tools to get you ready. I love their products. I use them almost daily. I use cologne. There are others wonderful smelling products, of course, the grooming tools, and you are going to love them too. Manscaped are the global leaders in men's below-the-waist grooming and have forever changed the grooming game with their amazing products. They are here to help with your above-the-waist holes. So remember, get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code DYNASTY20 at manscaped.com. That is DYNASTY20. Dynasty20 at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping at manscaped.com with the promo code Dynasty20. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you.
And our guest today is author of the upcoming book, Dynamite and Davy, The Explosive Lives of the British Bulldogs, Stephen Bell. Stephen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here again.
Absolutely. And we were talking pre-interview here, and I think last time we talked was about 6 months ago, maybe December or November or so. So it's great to have you back on here, of course, talking about another book. But Stephen, you're on several episodes ago, of course, to talk about your book on Douglas Clark. And during that interview, you actually revealed the news of your upcoming book on the British Bulldogs. Now, since it's been a few months since we talked to you, how is the new book coming along?
It's coming along brilliantly, yeah. Obviously, we're all living this strange old lockdown life, so a little bit more free time than we normally get. And yeah, I'm trying to use that productively and really crack on. It's such an addictive thing to do, especially with a story as fascinating as the Bulldogs and their, as the title says, explosive lives, both in and out of the ring. Really just trying to piece it all together as a sort of coherent whole story. I think a lot of people know sort of parts of it and the sort of headline parts of it, again, both in and out of the ring, but really trying to piece it together and put it all into context as to why these things happen, the injuries, the substance abuse, and obviously, unfortunately, both of them's premature deaths. So yeah, it's a really fascinating thing to be doing. I'm feeling really honoured to be doing it, and yeah, have some family members of theirs on board and supporting it and contributing to it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
No, absolutely. And we talked about this last time, and you even kind of mentioned it. With that free time, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of interviewing going on. But talk to us about who all of you've interviewed for the book so far.
I've had very lengthy interviews with Bruce Hart and Ross Hart. Ross in particular, I'm in touch with sort of on a weekly basis via email. Is sort of my go-to guy for for all the little piecing information together. He's sort of become the Hart family historian in recent years and decades, and he's absolutely fantastic fountain of knowledge. Bruce the same. Obviously, they've sort of lived and breathed that whole era. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm in regular contact with Tom's daughter Bronwyn, who's massively supporting the project and is very excited about it. And also, his ex-wife Michelle, Bronwyn's mother. I'm sort of speaking to her through Bronwyn and getting some facts that way. So it's sort of all coming together. I've still got other people that I want to speak to. Davy's son Harry, who we all know as Davy Boy Smith Jr. He's looking to contribute at some stage as well. So sort of getting everybody's angles. I want it to be very fair. I want it to be accurate, obviously. And it's just a matter of piecing it all together as time goes on. I'm sort of in the timeline of my narrative now up to 1992. Davy's just about to head out at Wembley Stadium. So that's sort of where I am in the timeline of it, probably about 3/4 of the way through first draft now. So, as things crop up that I feel unaware of and my own research sort of hit stumbling blocks, I feel like I've got somebody to turn to every stage now to sort of add a little bit of factual input. And it's all going great.
No, absolutely. And you even kind of mentioned this too, but definitely you're kind of shaping that whole picture about who they are as wrestlers, but also as people. And, it looks like you have some really great sources to draw from. So obviously I'm extremely excited to hear about that, of course, with the book and everything. But without, spoiling too much, because obviously, I'm sure there'll be some great stuff and great content for this, but, without spoiling too much, have you uncovered any stories or facts that perhaps the public isn't fully aware of?
I have. I mean, obviously, I think most of what I've got so far for your really hardened wrestling fans and wrestling readers of that era would probably be aware of most of it, but not in the level of detail that I've become aware of. There has been the odd thing that has shocked me that I didn't know anything about before. Both good and bad. And I think it's just more piecing it all together. As I say, we all know about these different sort of headline stories that happened in the lives and the careers, both together and separate as individuals. But finding out what was happening in between those headline stories and finding out what happened to bring on the next headline story and sort of piecing it all together, it's a bit like piecing a jigsaw together. We've seen a lot of the main pieces of the jigsaw, but finding the smaller ones that piece it all together to make that coherent whole story, and find out who were doing what at any one time and the matches that they had that nobody sort of knows about, with each other, against each other as tag team partners, that really made them stand out above the crowd during that sort of early, mid and even late 80s. I think for people who just sort of cottoned onto the story when Davey in particular hit that mainstream attention, I think there's going to be so much that they didn't know of how Davey came to that position, and unfortunately where Dynamite had got himself into that position. And like me, when I first became a wrestling fan 20 years ago, well, more than 20 years ago now, God, don't time fly. I couldn't remember Dynamite as a performer. To me, for my first few years of being a wrestling fan, I just sort of know him as Davey's partner. It's only when you really start to peel the layers of the onion back, you realise that it was so much more than that. But for many years and almost all of the careers together, it was completely the other way around. I think that a lot of people, a lot of fans, especially British fans as well, who just sort of remember Davey as the mainstream act and the glitter and the glamour that went with him around that time, will be amazed to hear about the Dynamite Kid and how we almost forged the career of Davey before they went their separate ways. He has some fascinating stuff in there.
No, absolutely. And I think I would probably fall in that same category of, I feel like I know a reasonable amount about, Davey, but not a whole lot about the Dynamite Kid, so that'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, it's become like a cult. I think Dynamite, because of the way he lived his life and his personal life, such a introverted character. He sort of almost rebelled against the WWF a little bit as well. He didn't like being the happy, smiling babyface. That isn't the character he wanted to portray. It's not the character in real life. He felt a lot more creative and in control as the sort of main heel in a company like always Stampede Wrestling, and he was the main Gaijin heel in Japan in the sensational junior heavyweight division that they had, and that is where he felt most comfortable. It's where he felt most creative, and yeah, I think that's why. Well, one of the many reasons why it didn't last too long in the WWF, and why, as we're going to probably discuss soon, why he's not in the Hall of Fame, and Dave is the one being inducted this weekend.
That's quite literally the next thing that I was going to mention, is that, Davey Boy Smith is getting his Hall of Fame induction, which was supposed to be last year, but will air this year. And the Dynamite Kid hasn't been inducted, and there's obviously some question to if he ever will. So maybe talk to us a little bit about, Davey's induction and Dynamite Kid's lack of an induction.
Well, I think Davies' induction's long overdue. I can't think of anybody really who's more entitled that's been left sort of waiting that long. I mean, I do think the Hall of Fame's been watered down a lot. Some of the wrestlers, non-wrestlers, celebrities that are in there, it does feel watered down. It don't feel like it's quite the same level of prestige that it once held. But Davey was one that stood out as not being in there when you looked at some of the others that were. So I think with Davey, it was always just a matter of time. There's probably been something political going off in background. I think there always is with these things. But Davey's massively, I mean, he's one of the most decorated without actually achieving the world title, which he never unfortunately did. And again, I think that was more just circumstance and timing that stopped him doing that. One of the most decorated superstars in WWE history and wrestling history, held every title you can, really. Massively popular to everybody that seemed to know him, really, and he's one of them who not many people have a bad word to say about him, it seems. And over here in the UK, we're a huge star, put the WWF on the map, and that seems to play in, as well as in-ring ability and influence on the industry. One of the things that Vince and the WWF seem very keen on when they're looking at who they're going to induct next is how they've spread the business, spread the company, and I think Davey in the early to mid-90s were massively influential in kickstarting the European and particularly the UK market. So yeah, it's been a bit of a surprise that it hasn't been sooner, but it's so well deserved.
No, absolutely. And to kind of follow up on that, do you think the Dynamite Kid will ever get his time for induction, or what are your opinions on that?
I'd probably say I don't now. I think if it were going to happen, they had the opportunity to probably put them in together. Obviously, with both of them passed away, the sort of Bulldogs going in posthumously would have been probably the right thing to do. They were such a groundbreaking tag team. It had to sort of tuck any controversy that they're worried about. I'm not sure that controversy is that big, really, given, if they wanted an Hall of Fame with nobody with any kind of controversy in their life in the world of wrestling, especially during that era, it wouldn't take a very long hallway, would it, to fill it? So no, I don't think it's just obviously because he wore a very polarizing character. Where I've just said about David, there's not a lot of people with bad words to say about him. Unfortunately, they are with the Dynamite Kid. He's got that bully tag that goes with him. I think that's based on my research. I think it's quite well warranted. A period of his time there, he was very controversial. I think a lot of that was because he was so heavily addicted to steroids. I think that sort of warped him, not just physically, but probably a little bit mentally during that period, and gave people a harsher view of him. And obviously, as we know, as time goes on, everybody seems to like to concentrate on the negative rather than the positive. From a in-ring wrestling point of view, it absolutely should be in there. Should be one of the first 5 names in there. From a influence on the industry, should be in there. One of the top 5 names in there, you'd say. I think that probably the 2 things that really hold him back against all the other controversial characters that have gone in. I think he's always going to be slightly tarnished, unfairly probably with the Chris Benoit issue. I think, when he was Chris Benoit's mentor, but he didn't ask to be the Chris Benoit, just worshipped him, hero worshipped him, wanted to be just like him. He didn't ask for that, and then he did take him under his wing for a couple of years there in Stampede. But all he did there will help him become as good a in-ring performer as Chris Benoit turned out to be. I think that the unfortunate CNN news reports, almost a documentary really, as it turned out to be, they really cottoned on to that narrative, and they played the really dark music and sinister music as they showed pictures of Tom and Benoit together, or compared the similarities of them, and the sort of darkness that had enveloped Dynamite in his last couple of years in Canada when his career was coming to an end. His body was breaking down. He was still addicted to probably alcohol and drugs by then, and they really concentrated on that side of it. And I think that's sort of almost forever going to be tainted with him slightly. I think that's very unfair. But I think the main reason why I'll never go in is because, unlike almost every other superstar, he had the last say with Vince, really. He turned Vince down when Vince invited them back. Davey said yes. Dynamite said no. It's probably yet another example of Dynamite's stubborn pride, which I think were a major part of his life and made him make some bad decisions just because he was such a proud man, and he'd left the WWF under a cloud, felt like he'd been mistreated in a couple of different ways. Again, I don't want to ruin too much for the book, but certainly felt he'd been mistreated in more than one way. And I'd say weren't really enjoying his time there as much as he enjoyed his time in Stampede and in Japan. Felt like he was underappreciated, underrespected, and left. And when Vince were willing to take him back with open arms, it turned him down in no uncertain terms, and probably with some profanity in there as well. So and I don't think Vince forgets things like that very easily. And so I think that's probably the main reason, really. Like I say, I think the Chris Benoit thing is almost an easy thing for them to say, well, that almost in that might be the real reason if they were to do that. Obviously they won't, because they don't mention Chris Benoit's name, but there you go. But I think there's a couple of reasons why, but I don't think Dynamite ever will be in the Hall of Fame.
And that's sort of unfortunate, but like you said earlier, there's always, some kind of politics that go on in the background, especially with wrestling. So, it is what it is, and, hopefully maybe one day they can overlook that. But until then, at least we're getting Davey Boy Smith's induction here soon, and, we'll all be looking forward to that, of course. But, to kind of take it back to the book a little bit, obviously you said you're about kind of 3/4 of the way through that first draft or so. What is your expected publication date?
It's probably around about 12 months from now, exactly, looking at the spring of 2022. So I'm looking to get that first draft done in 2 or 3 months' time, and then a couple of edits and fact checkings and off to various people for their input, and then off to the publisher. So time's just rolling on. I mean, it's probably the best part of 12 months since I started it now. So, and that doesn't seem 2 minutes ago at all. So that time will soon roll on. It'll be on pre-sale probably best part of 6 months before that, so maybe 6 months from now. People can start getting their orders in. And yeah, so it's going to be, it seems to grow in stature as well as size and length and content every time I sort of pick it up and continue with it. We now look at it's probably going to be this part of a 500-page monster, to be honest. And yeah, still working on getting access to all the right images and pictures that I think are going to support the story, right? And yeah, got family and other people involved in that. So yeah, it's going really fantastically. And yeah, so 12 months from now, hopefully the sort of definitive British Bulldogs story will be out there.
And, you know, and you're really just churning those books out. I mean, you just got one out not too long ago, and you already have one, you know, I mean, relatively coming out pretty soon. And so we're really excited for that. But, you know, it's kind of to go along with that, you know, you've recently started social media outlets for the project. So where can listeners follow your project and keep up to date with the latest news?
Yeah, so far I've just got a dedicated Twitter account for it, which is named Dynamite and Davey. It's on the Twitter handle at BulldogsBook123. So yeah, I'll be posting quite regular on there with updates and how it's going and who I've interviewed lately and what stage the project is at. So yeah, and obviously keeping up to date with release dates and pre-sale dates and cover art and images. So yeah, anybody who's really interested, go on and give it a follow, and you'll be getting more and more excited as the time goes on.
All right. Well, everybody out there who is listening right now, go ahead and go follow the Twitter, and make sure you are keeping up to date on the Dynamite and Davey, The Explosive Lives of the British Bulldogs by Stephen Bell. It's going to be a wonderful book. It's going to be a whopper. I mean, you're going to be expecting, I mean, he said 500 pages. You know, that's insane, but that's also so awesome. So we're super excited for that final product, of course. But Stephen, thanks for joining us, and we'll have to get back with you closer to the release date to talk some more about it, of course. But fans out there, like we said, go ahead and go follow that. Keep up to date in this book. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Dave to wrap up this episode of the Dave Dynasty Show.
If you are looking for the best books, DVDs, and posters on classic wrestling nostalgia, then you want to visit crowbarpress.com. There are literally dozens of titles there, including biographies of the likes of Bruiser Brody, Ole Anderson, Ivan Koloff, and of course, Dick the Bruiser, as we've spoke about here on the Dave Dynasty Show. You want to visit crowbarpress.com for all of your classic wrestling nostalgia needs. Again, that is crowbarpress.com. All right, and we're back here on the Dave Dynasty Show. I am Dave Dynasty. Thank you to Stephen Bell for coming on, talking to us about his book. It's going to be great. Just like you say, go follow those social media outlets. Keep up to date with the book. When it's released, grab a copy. It's going to be great. I'm sure we'll have Steve on again to give further updates closer to time for that. I'm very excited to actually have a copy of the book about the British Bulldogs. It's going to be exceptional. Thank you to our sponsor, Manscaped. They help keep the lights on around here. If you're in the need for that kind of stuff, and I highly recommend you do, guys. It's great stuff. Make sure you use that promo code Dynasty20 and get yourself a discount, 20% and free shipping. So go grab yourself some tools, some hygiene products, whatever it might be. Thank you for listening. Make sure you rate and review us on whatever platform you're on. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you share the episodes. Help with the networking and getting the word out there. Hey, go to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us there. There's lots of good wrestling content there from the WWA, Detroit, etc., as well as all episodes of the Dave Dynasty Show and all of our other podcasts in the Dynasty Wrestling Podcast Network. That's all I got for this week. We'll be back soon. Next episode will be, that you'll see here on the feed, will be another episode of the Ring a Ding Dong Dandy podcast. And until that time, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.